All right, we are live. Hey, how is it going? Lee Hayward here with the Total Fitness Bodybuilding video chat for Friday, February 28th, the last day of February. Winter is coming to a close, spring is just around the corner, and this is the time that you want to be focusing on getting in shape for summer if that is a goal of yours, and I know it is for many people. And I just want to give you a heads up that starting next weekend, we're actually going to be kicking off a Lose Your Gut Challenge group with the theme of getting lean for summer. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to reach out to me. I have my contact information down in the show notes below. And actually, when this is posted up, I'll post a link where you can actually go check out the Lose Your Gut Challenge group and register for it. And again, this is a free 5-day Lose Your Gut Challenge coaching program where we're going to be laying out a step-by-step action plan that you can follow to get lean for summer, covering the fundamentals of fat loss, nutrition, training, lifestyle habits, basically laying out an action plan that you can take and utilize to lose your gut, and more importantly, how do you keep it off and enjoy the process. All right, so I'm going to talk more about that during today's video chat, but I just want to make sure that this is coming through loud and clear. I see people are popping onto our live stream right now, which is great. We're streaming from the Total Fitness Bodybuilding YouTube channel as well as the Facebook page. So wherever you're joining in from, welcome to the chat. And if you have any questions or topics of discussion, feel free to type those into our chat window. That's what this whole live video Q&A is all about. It's about helping you to achieve your fitness and nutrition, answer your fitness and nutrition questions so that you can achieve your fitness goals, be that losing body fat, building muscle, improving your health, increasing your strength and athletic performance. Whatever it is that you want to discuss, whatever challenges you're going through, feel free to type it into the chat window there, and I'll do the best that I can to help you out over the course of our video chat today. All right, so got several people joining in. We have Tex Pop. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you as well. Glad to have you joining into our video chat. We have MB. Welcome to the chat. Glad to have you joining. We have Wellesley from the UK. Awesome. Glad to have you joining in. Must be getting late over in the UK. Late on a Friday night, but glad to have you joining in. And we usually get an international audience for these chats. I mean, obviously, a lot of people from North America, from my neck of the woods, but we do get people from Europe. We get people from Australia, New Zealand, places like that, the Philippines. I mean, we do kind of get that international mix. For some people, it's late. Some people, it's early. Right? Wellesley saying it is 10:06. Awesome, right? Kudos to you for joining in. I respect that. All right. There's worse ways that you could spend a Friday night, I'm sure. Joining in with the Total Fitness Bodybuilding video chat. First off, before we get into answering your questions and topics of discussion, I have one that was submitted in earlier today through the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Facebook group, and I'm going to address that right here. First off, for those of you who are on Facebook, if you're not already a part of the Total Fitness Bodybuilding group, I highly encourage you to sign up. This is a great way for you to participate and interact and chat. A lot of guys share workout programs and training tips and even progress pictures and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's an interactive community geared towards keeping this conversation going. So if you haven't already done so, you can just do a search on Facebook for Lee Hayward's Total Fitness Bodybuilding, and you can request to join the group. Right? That's something that I would highly recommend and highly encourage you to do, especially for those of you on Facebook. It's a great way to keep that conversation going throughout the week. Right? There's 2,000 members over there on the Total Fitness Bodybuilding group, and if you are on Facebook, I highly recommend you check it out. And I think I have the link to it down in the show notes below this, but you just do a search for Lee Hayward's Total Fitness Bodybuilding and you will find it. All right, so here, I'm just going to share my screen here now and get that question up that was submitted earlier. And in the meantime, you guys who are tuning in live, if you have any questions or topics of discussion that you would like me to address, type them into our chat window. All right, so here we are. This is the Total Fitness Bodybuilding group. Hopefully that is coming through. You can see that. I'll make that a little tiny bit bigger. There we go. So the question we have was submitted by Jose, and he says, not sure if I can make the live chat, so I'll ask the question here. He says, if you can answer it on the live, that would be great. I've been doing the push-ups as part of a chest training, as you suggested on a previous video. I do full body workouts every other day and cardio the next. So far, I'm 2 sets of 20. Should I do them at the end of the chest workout, or they can be done at the end of a whole body workout? And should I do them every day or just on the training days? Thanks. All right, so the issue there of push-ups. I'm just going to stop that screen share there. Adding in push-ups. I'm going to just elaborate on that more. Again, I can't remember the exact topic because, I mean, this was a few video chats back. But if you want to prioritize your chest, one of the best ways to do it is by adding in push-ups. And push-ups are a fantastic chest exercise. In fact, I've gotten more chest gains, if you will. I built my chesticles bigger by doing push-ups than any other chest exercise. And the thing I really like about them is, first, it's a body weight exercise. So anytime you move your entire body through space, it activates a higher level of neuromuscular activation. And it's a good compound body weight exercise. And the thing is you can do it pretty much anywhere. Like, you can do it at home, you can do it at the gym, you can do it, heck, you can do it on your lunch break at work if you wanted to, right? You can do push-ups pretty much anywhere. It doesn't require any equipment whatsoever. And back when I was training in martial arts, before I got serious into weight training, I did a lot of push-ups as part of our martial arts training. And I found that really helped to give my upper body basically a whole boost in terms of muscle growth. So push-ups are a very underrated exercise, one of my all-time favorites. I mean, if you get good at doing push-ups, you're going to have a thick muscular upper body. So it's one of the best exercises you can do. Now, if you want to prioritize your chest, like, let's just say it's a stubborn area, you really want to focus on it, you could literally do push-ups every single day. Now, I'm going to break that down and elaborate it. When I say every single day, I'm using it kind of loosely. Like, take that with a grain of salt, because if you're feeling extra tired or you're feeling extra sore, listen to your body and take a day off. But if you're feeling good, like there's no pain, there's no soreness, you can pretty much bang out some push-ups every day. And the thing is you want to do it in small doses, small little micro doses of push-ups, not going in there and trying to train to failure and annihilate the muscle. You just do a little bit and purposely stop short of failure. Right. So it's what this is referred to as, some people in the iron game refer to it as greasing the groove. You're doing frequent exercises, and it's a little tiny bit of stimulation. Then you let your body rest, recover, grow, stimulate, rest, recover, grow. And it's just these little tiny bursts. And you purposely stop short of failure, stop short of exhaustion. Like, you don't want to go in there and break the muscle down so that it takes a long time to recover. You just want to stimulate it and then let it rest, recover, grow. Stimulate, rest, recover, grow. And the more frequently you can do that, the more frequently you're going to pump blood and nutrients into the muscles, and it really helps to aid with growth. And this is something that you can do. It doesn't have to be done at the gym. Like, you can do this at home. Like, in the morning, hit the floor, bang out a set of push-ups, right? Maybe if you want, like, you can even, once you start getting good at it, you can do a set of push-ups in the morning, do a set of push-ups in the afternoon, do another set in the evening, right? Just break it up and do these push-ups where you're building up the volume over time, but you're always staying short of failure. So don't hit the floor and rep out as many push-ups as you can do to failure and get yourself sore and even risk, hurting or straining something. Just do like half of what you can normally do. So, like, let's just say you can do 30 push-ups to failure, bang out a set of 15. So it's just a little easy set of push-ups, a light little pump up, leave it at that. And then, like, later on that day, do another set of 15. Then maybe later on, do another set. And it's like greasing the groove. You're just working that muscle, that exercise, and you're doing it in little tiny mini spurts. And this is a great way to build up the total volume. So over the course of the week, if you did that, even if you did 2 sets of 15 and you did that every single day, well, that's 30 push-ups a day over the course of the week. Now, you've got 7 days. You're up into, what was this? Do my math here. 20 to 200 plus push-ups, right? 200 plus push-ups over the course of the week, right? It's a great way to bump up the volume. And if you continue that, like over the course of several weeks, maybe even over the course of several months, if you can do it, that extra volume is really going to go a long way into helping to aid with the growth of your chest in general. It's just going to really amplify it. And this is something you would do in addition to your gym workouts. So it's not a replacement or whatever. It's a supplement. It's something you do in addition to those gym workouts as a way to help spur on some new growth and to prioritize the chest. Now, you could do it with other body parts. Like let's say your legs are really weak. You could do body weight squats or maybe step ups or lunges, something along those lines. Like ideally, it's something that you can do at home, quick, easy, no special equipment required. So body weight squats are great for that, right? If you wanted to prioritize your legs. If it was your back that was a stubborn area, you could probably do pull-ups, especially if you had like a doorway pull-up bar at home. You could bang out a set of push-ups or pull-ups, I should say. Like it's a great way to prioritize those stubborn body parts. But the thing is just pick one or two exercises at most. The problem with this is sometimes a lot of people say, oh, well, these little extra workouts, this is great. So I'm going to do my full-on weight training program at the gym, and I'm going to do this full-on total body workout at home. And they end up burning themselves out doing too much, right? You got to use it, but don't abuse it, right? So just kind of pick certain areas that you feel are weak or that need some extra specialization. And for the next, say, 6 weeks or the next 2 months, prioritize it by doing some extra exercise like that at home in addition to your regular gym workouts. And I bet you'll notice some good progress. I mean, I've used this myself to get stronger at pull-ups. I've also used it for push-ups. Other areas that I've used it for, like to bring up my arms, like doing dumbbell curls or tricep extensions at home. Great little way to add in some extra volume there. For those of you who probably have skinny calves and you want to get rid of the chicken legs, you can do body weight calf raises at home, right? I mean, there's all kinds of ways to utilize this same strategy. But the thing is you want to do it in addition to your workouts and not train to failure. That's the kicker here, right? Stimulate, but don't annihilate. Like stop short of failure. And that's going to allow you to do this more frequently, more consistently. And it's the consistency over the intensity that's going to produce the results here. Right? Consistency over intensity. That's what you want to focus on. But hopefully that helps to clarify the question there. And this is something I would do it separate from the gym workouts. Now, with that being said, if you wanted to add in push-ups with your gym workouts, there's nothing wrong with that either. But you know, push-ups are easily done at home. I'd rather spend my time at the gym prioritizing exercises that I can't do at home, right? Utilizing some of the machines and the free weights and whatever at the gym. All right, what else we got there? Let's see. Spot there. We have Jason is joining in. What's up? Hey, Jason, glad to have you joining in. Welcome to our video chat. We have Adolf joining in from Mexico. Welcome to the chat. Glad to have you joining in. Got Jeffrey's joining us. Is a weightlifting station all you need for a home gym, or should you invest in a leg press machine and a leg curl machine too? That depends. I mean, you can make your home gym as elaborate as your space and budget will allow. All right, I'll just say that. It can be as simple or as elaborate depending on the situation. Like I've seen some home gyms that rival commercial gyms. And I'm not joking when I say that. Like I know people personally who have, there's one guy I know, a fellow competitive bodybuilder. He has a home gym, and I'm sure he must have invested at least $100,000 worth of equipment in that home gym. Like his whole basement of his house is basically a home gym and very well equipped. You know, from a practical point of view, he doesn't need to go to the gym. Like he can do everything that he needs to do in his basement home gym. But a lot of people like to go to the commercial gym for the variety and the atmosphere and that kind of stuff. I mean, that's the way I am. Like I have a home gym that's pretty good. I've got a power rack. I got cable pulleys. I have a plate loaded leg curl leg extension attachment. I've got a stationary bike. I got a rowing machine. I've got a lat pull down, and I've got a chest press. I got a Power Tech machine. It's like a combo. It has chest press, shoulder press, because you can adjust the angle of the bench, leg curl, leg extension, lat pull down, and seated cable row, all in this Power Tech station setup that I have. And of course, then I have the power rack with a cable crossover pulleys, high-low pulleys as well. So between that, I mean, I can get in a pretty darn good workout, plus, you know, full dumbbell rack and free weights and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I can get in a darn good workout at home, but I still like going to the public gym for the variety, as you mentioned, like a leg press. That's something first off, I don't have the space in my basement home gym. Like way it is right now, my basement home gym is kind of packed. There's no way I'd be able to fit in a leg press, and that's going to add a lot of space. And of course, then you need a lot of weights as well, because the thing with leg press machines, you need a lot of weight, because most guys can load that thing up with a lot of weight plates. So that's another expense there as well. You know, for whenever I was training at home, like back in the day, I did all my workouts at a home gym. I got by with squats, deadlifts, leg extensions, leg curls, calf raises, stuff like that. Like I never had a leg press in my home gym for years, and I got away with that. It's only when I went to the the public gym where I really had access to stuff like that, the leg press. So, do you need it? No, you don't need it. Is it nice to have? And if absolutely, right? If you have the space and the budget and everything else, by all means. But you have to kind of like weigh the pros and cons here. And are you going to use it too? Right? You have to look at that. Like, are you more likely to be consistent with your workouts if you go to the gym? Some people are. Like, this is a common thing. I want to share this as well. Like, a lot of people, they don't consider this, but it's easy to get lazy at home. And for those of you who have home exercise equipment and have been lazy with using it, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's so easy for people to invest in home gym equipment. And when it's new and it's novel and everything else, it's like, oh, yeah, this is cool. This is great. After a few weeks or a few months go by, that thing is in the basement over in the corner collecting dust, or it turns into a clothes rack or whatever. It's so easy for people to get lazy with their home gym equipment. But when you go to the commercial gym, I find that it's I get a better workout because, okay, I'm here for the next hour. This is my mean time. I'm turning off my phone. There's no distractions. It's like putting on the blinders. I'm here to work out, and I'm not going to be distracted. Whereas when I'm at home, you know, you got other family members there. The phone could be ringing. People could be knocking on the door. If you've got a large family, other people are running around or whatever, kids are running around. It's so easy to get distracted. But when you're at the gym, it's like, okay, this is me. This is my me time for the next hour. I'm off the grid, right? I'm here to work out. And I find having that structured time and that dedicated space where I'm just in there, it helps me to really focus and kind of like zone into what I want to do. And there's no distractions, and I can kind of feed off the energy of the gym. You're surrounded by other people who are in there working out. So even if you're kind of feeling like, I don't know if I want to work out today, I'm feeling a little lazy, you get into the gym, the music is playing, other people are clanging and banging and working out. I mean, next thing you know, like you get sucked into it, right? You get sucked into the vibe and the energy and the environment. And sometimes I have some of my best workouts on those days where I'm like, should I go? Should I not go? I don't know. Screw it. I'm going to go anyway. Just commit to showing up, and boom, have a great workout. Whereas when you're at home, it's sometimes hard to self-motivate yourself, right? So, you know, you got to weigh the pros and the cons there, right? So I'm not saying don't invest in a home gym, but how far you go with it is really going to depend on your space, your budget, right? That's the big thing, right? I mean, you can make it as elaborate as you want, but I will say this: most successful bodybuilders and people who weight train and fitness enthusiasts that I know personally, they have both. They have a gym membership and they have a home gym, and they take advantage of both, right? I know, like one of my coaching students, Mike Brown, he has a very well-equipped home gym, and he also has a gym membership, and he likes to divide his workouts between the two depending on what muscle groups he's going to train. So like he likes to train legs at the public gym because they got better leg equipment there. I think he also likes to train his shoulders because they have a few shoulder machines there at the public gym that he doesn't have access to at home. But for things like basic barbell free weight exercises or cables and pulley exercises. I mean, he can certainly do that at home with what he has available. So you can pair it up how you see fit and what works well for your schedule. But I just know from personal experience, most people who are successful with their fitness programs, they have both home gym and a public gym membership. And it's like stacking the deck in your favor, because then regardless of the situation, you're covered, right? If the weather, like let's say there's a snowstorm outside and you can't get to the gym, well, hey, you got a backup. You got a good home gym. But for those times when you do have the time and you can get to the gym and really take advantage of the equipment and the variety that's there. So I know I didn't give you a direct answer, but hopefully I gave you some food for thought. All right, what else we got there? Wellesley says, my lats. I usually do 20 pull-ups a day, 10 in the morning and another 10 in the evening. Mine are my lats. Okay, same thing. I usually do 20 pull-ups a day, 10 in the morning, 10 in the evening. I think he was referring back to when I was talking about the prioritizing and adding in those extra volume of exercises. So that's cool. I mean, I love how you're doing that, like breaking it up morning and evening. And what I would recommend, do that as often as you can, but listen to your body. So you try to do it every day, but from a practical point of view, like if you're extra sore, if something's hurting, like maybe your elbows are hurting, or maybe my shoulders are hurting, or my lats are really sore, something just doesn't feel right, give yourself an extra day of rest. Like your body needs rest. In fact, is when you rest is when your body recovers and grows. It's not during the actual training stimulation. So the key is to factor in the rest and the recovery there as well. But if you can train more frequently and recover between those workouts, that's when you're going to really maximize your progress. So the frequency is important, but it's also the rest and the recovery in between those workouts. But I've done similar things myself, and I found that that was very helpful in bringing up stubborn exercises, stubborn body parts. Because I found when I would go to the gym and do pull-ups, like I couldn't get many pull-ups done, especially when I was just starting out with them. But by doing it at home, like day after day after day, just doing these like 1 or 2 sets a day at home, the volume accumulates over the course of the week and over the course of the month. And then by the time you know it, like a year goes by and boom, you're just done, thousands of extra pull-ups at home that you wouldn't have normally gotten done. And it's a great way to just get really good at that exercise and to get this muscle stimulation as a result of that. So yeah, kudos to you, man. That's good. What's up, fellas? I hope the pumps are treating you well. That's from Terrence. Yes, I hope so as well. All right, glad to have you joining into our video chat. We have the Buff Canuck waving a hello. Welcome, Mr. Buff Canuck. Glad to have you joining in. King Live 2025, Mark King, I'm going viral and we need a coach for our lives 3M a month. Can we talk? All right, I'm sure we can talk. I have no idea what you're referring to, but send me a message and we'll have a chat, right? All right, my contact information is down in the show notes below. Or if we're friends on Facebook, which I believe we are, message me over there and we can have a chat and see what it is you're referring to. We have Sean joining in. Hello, you good? Yes, I am good, Sean. Hopefully you're doing well as well. Let's see what else we got. We have Mark joining in. Lee Hayward, my favorite muscle building coach. How's that big gorilla chest, brother? We were just talking about building a gorilla chest with frequent push-up workouts. Doing well. Glad to have you joining in, Mark. We have Chris joining us as well. Welcome, Chris. Jeffrey saying, Planet Fitness keeps putting most gyms around here out of business, and I've been anti-Planet Fitness for a long time. You know what? It's interesting you said that, because Planet Fitness just recently came to Newfoundland, where I live, because we didn't have one until I think the first one came about last year, and now they opened up another location on the other side of town this year. And I get what you're saying. It's their model is, the the dirt cheap gym membership, right? They try to have it so low and just scale on volume, right? That's the whole idea. Is they do, I don't know what the memberships are, like $15 a month or something like that, whatever it is. And the whole idea is they just want to get thousands of people in there, regardless if you go to the gym or not. They want to get thousands of people paying $15 a month, and then hopefully you never quit. And maybe 10% or less of the people who are actually paying for a membership will show up, right? Like that's the model. It's all designed on just sheer volume. And from a mom and pop, locally owned gym, that hurts. That hurts the bottom line, because most small gyms can't afford to be selling $15 gym memberships and be profitable, right? So I totally get where you're coming from. Now, personally, I don't like the big box gyms either, like the Planet Fitnesses and the LA Fitnesses and the Good Lifes and the whatever. I like the locally owned mom and pop gyms. And throughout my whole lifting career, right from when I started joining the gym, I've always went to locally owned gyms for the most part. I mean, there was occasional times I'd go to big box gyms or whatever, but not for the long term. Like my long term gym memberships were always locally owned gyms, and I just like that atmosphere. And I also like the atmosphere of a locally owned gym, but I also like the equipment, because I mean, one of the drawbacks of Planet Fitness, of course, no free weights, or at least no barbells, no power racks, no stuff like that. It's just machines, which, again, from the average person, the average fitness gym goer, I mean, you can still get in a good workout at Planet Fitness, but it's not the same. And one of the biggest complaints that I hear from a lot of people who have gone to Planet Fitness is it's like a madhouse, and you don't always get the most serious workout enthusiasts. Whereas you go to the locally owned mom and pop gyms, like a lot of times people are there to work out. It's more of a serious atmosphere, better equipment a lot of times, right? You're there to work out. Whereas sometimes these cheap, big box gym memberships, it's half workout, half socializing, whatever. Well, what's what Planet Fitness also does? Do they have like Pizza Fridays or something like that? So they try to make it like hey, come hang out at the gym, social. Again, nothing wrong with it. I mean, there's hanging out at the gym is better than hanging out at the pub. But again, I get what you're saying. I'm not a fan of Planet Fitness. Put it this way, I'm not going to be buying a Planet Fitness membership anytime soon. But for it's there's pros and cons to everything, right? I mean, like, you can argue it both ways, but I totally get what you're saying there for sure. Right? I like to support the locally owned mom and pop gym. What else we got there? All right, I can't even pronounce your username, so I'm just going to call you Mr. X. It says, hey, Lee, I've been following you since 2010. Wow, how the time flies. What's one piece of advice you would give your younger self that you've learned over the years and years of training? Great question, Mr. X. XX Horuga 05XX. Again, I have no idea what that means, but Mr. X works fine for me. Thanks for sharing that, and thanks for the support over the years. 2010, yeah, it is crazy. Well, we're gone on 15 years now. What's one piece of advice I'd give my younger self? There's probably a lot of pieces of advice I would give my younger self, but let's keep it geared towards fitness. I'm probably going to share more than one, but I'll share one big one right off the bat. When it comes to my training, I would not have been so eager to increase the weights and always training with that progressive overload. Like, I was trying to get heavier and heavier and heavier, and really getting caught up in the numbers, and almost getting caught up in the ego lifting and the competition side of things. Like, again, there's pros and cons to everything. I mean, a little bit of competition is good, but when you're pushing beyond your limits, that's when injuries happen. And that's how I ended up getting some serious injuries back in the day, was just pushing heavier and heavier weights without solidifying my strength. And we actually talked about this in a recent podcast where we went into progressive overload for advanced lifters. If you haven't checked that one out already, I would highly recommend it, because if I could go back in time and give my younger self some advice, I would give him that podcast and say, go listen to this, right? And listen to it and actually follow it. Because what I found is that's when I've gotten serious injuries, is pushing the limits for trying to get stronger without solidifying my strength. And what happens is once you get that first major injury, then that's the weak link in the chain. And it's so easy then to get other injuries to compound on top of that. Because once you have one injury, then other muscle groups have to overwork to compensate for that injury or that weakness. And then they're at risk of being hurt. So I'll give you an example. Like my first major injury is I tore a muscle in my back, right? So I still I have never been the same since. Like I have a gap in my right above my lat into my right armpit. There's a gap there where the muscle has been torn, and I can just feel a tendon right under the skin there. Like the muscle has just been detached there. And that's haunted me since 2008. That's when I tore that muscle. And I haven't been able to do heavy deadlifts since. I haven't been able to do heavy squats since. Like I haven't been able to do my heavy lifts since that injury, because once I start pushing so heavy, that injury gets re-injured, and it kind of reminds me, hey buddy, you can't go pushing this. But like before then, I remember like in the early 2000s, that's when I was benching over 400, squatting over 500, deadlifting over 500. I can't come anywhere near those numbers anymore, right? Like anytime now, like when I'm doing deadlifts, when I go over 300 pounds, that injury, that torn muscle right there, that activates and that aggravates, and I can feel it. So, I mean, I can't go beyond 300-pound deadlifts anymore. Whereas when I was younger, 20 years ago, I was pulling 500 plus deadlifts, right? Can't do that anymore. Same with squats. Like even that muscle, I can feel that aggravate, that torn muscle, even when squats and any heavy exercises. So because of that, then that was like a weak link that caused other body parts to overcompensate. And since then, I've torn both biceps. I've had a lot of nagging shoulder injuries over the years. Thankfully, nothing torn, but just strains and nagging injuries that I had to rehab. And that's the big thing. If I could go back in time and give my younger self some advice, it'd be to pace yourself with the progressive overload and to actually learn how to solidify your strength gains before just chasing heavier and heavier weight. Because this whole idea of just keeping adding weight, and not really solidifying your strength and working the whole body as a unit, that I think can lead to a lot of problems. And again, we went into a whole detailed podcast going into this one. So it's 2 podcasts ago now. So if you go back to the podcasts, they're on YouTube. They're also on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, like all the major podcast platforms. But I'd recommend checking them out on YouTube because you can watch the video. You can also watch the video on Spotify as well. But check out that if you haven't already done so. That's one piece I would give myself. Another one that I want to share as well. When I was younger, I would not have purposely tried to bulk up. And I think that was a mistake. Because when you're young and you want to be big and huge and everything else, like when I was younger in my early 20s, I wanted to be the 250-pound bodybuilder. Like that was my goal. And I had set on, okay, I'm going to be, this huge and ripped and shredded. I'm going to become a pro bodybuilder. I'm going to win the Mr. Olympia, and gosh darn it, I'm going to do it naturally, right? I was so naive back then, because keep in mind, when I started lifting, this was before the days of the internet. Information didn't come as readily available as it does now. And I was so naive that I thought all these pro bodybuilders and all these pro athletes, they're all natural. They're all doing it healthy. Like nobody would ever risk their health for the sake of performance enhancement. I mean, that's crazy. Who would ever do that? Right? That's how naive I was. So I was convinced that I was going to be a pro bodybuilder, and I wanted to become as big as I could. And I purposely, I was on the seafood diet, and I ate a lot. Like when I was in my late teens, early 20s, when I was in my off-season phase, because keep in mind, like I was competing every year, but I diet down for competition. As soon as that contest is over, then I go start my bulk, if you will. And I would just start shoveling down food. And it wasn't always the best food, because I was always eating anything and everything to try and get bigger for next year's competition. And I think by purposely trying to gain weight, I ended up putting on a lot of body fat in the process. And it got to the point where I think it kind of ruined some of my aesthetics to a degree. Like it caused me to have like a thicker waistline and loose skin and stuff like that. And even now when I diet down, like I got loose skin around the midsection because where I was so big, and especially big in the belly, back when I was bulking up. And If I had my time back, I would never have done that. I would have stayed lean and focused on making lean gains. Like, I'm not saying you have to necessarily be in a calorie deficit all the time, but you don't have to go to the other extreme where you're forcing down a calorie surplus either. You just want to eat enough in order to fuel your training and let your body grow, not overeat and force feed yourself and try and force your body to grow, right? So that there's a big difference, right? Eating enough to let yourself grow, not overeating with the goal of trying to force yourself to grow. And that was a mistake that I made as well. So two big mistakes. If I could go back and tell the young Lee, don't train so damn heavy or don't be in such a hurry to increase the weights. Pace yourself with that, and you probably would have limited a lot of injuries. And don't be in such a damn hurry to try and get big, right? Let yourself grow, not trying to force yourself to grow. And I think if I had followed that, I would have been much better off. Probably less injuries, or who knows, maybe even no injuries, and probably a much healthier and more aesthetic looking physique long term. But yeah, that's those two things I kind of regret. But at the same time, if I didn't learn those lessons the hard way, I wouldn't be able to speak about it right now. So, sometimes we have to learn things the hard way. But hopefully somebody's listening to this right now and can learn from my mistakes and avoid making them in the future. All right, we have Neil joining in. Let's see what we got. What would be your best exercises for the middle back? Just curious, though. I always feel my upper back and lats when doing pulling exercises, but not so much on my middle back. I'd like to all right, keep that back up there, sure. I wish we could have a conversation, a two-way conversation here to elaborate more. What do you mean by middle back? Because when you look at the back, if we were looking at an anatomy chart, there's so much muscle in the back. Obviously, you have your lats, which is kind of the lat width. The upper back, a lot of people refer to that like rear delts, traps. And then you have the lower back, which is kind of like the spinal erectors. The mid back, like right in the middle, I guess, going up the center of the spine, like that's rhomboids / lower traps area. Like that's indirectly going to get worked from virtually everything you do. Like if you're doing rowing exercises, you're indirectly going to hit that middle back area. If you're doing deadlifts and hinging exercises and good mornings or hyperextensions, you're going to be working the spinal erectors all the way up through to the mid back line as well. Even if you're doing pull-ups and pull-downs and overhead pulling exercises, even though that's kind of more of the lat width, it's still indirectly getting more of that middle back. So you're probably hitting it, but you're feeling these other areas more so, right? That's probably what I'm getting at. But like it's indirectly getting worked. As long as you're doing this, like if you want a complete back workout, you want to think of hitting all the major angles. So overhead pull, whether that's a pull down, a pull up, something where you're pulling from the overhead position. That's what you need, an overhead pull. Now, there's all kinds of different variations where you can play around with that, from a wide grip, narrow grip, underhand grip, parallel grip, and you can play around with whether it's cable pull-ups or cable pull-downs or pull-ups with the pull-up bar. Like there's all kinds of different variations, but you need to have that in there. You need to have an overhead pull. You need to have a horizontal pull or a row. Whether it's a barbell row, a dumbbell row, a cable row, a machine row, something where you're pulling in a horizontal plane of motion. And again, change it up and see what feels the best for you. Because each time you change your grip, change the width, change the hand position, it's going to activate different aspects of your back. But you need to have some sort of horizontal pull in there. You also need to have some sort of hip hinge, something where you're extending, like a deadlift, a hyperextension, a good morning, something where you're working the back, the spinal erectors. You need to have something along those lines. Another one that's really good too, it is technically a back exercise, but it's kind of like a total torso exercise, is a pull over, right? The over, like a pull over, whether it's a dumbbell pull over, barbell pull over, or nowadays a lot of gyms have pull over machines, which I actually feel are better than free weight versions, because you get constant tension throughout the entire range of motion. You get a full stretch and a full peak contraction through that whole arc of the pullover. Whereas when you're using free weights, you have this strength curve where you get a lot of tension in the bottom when you're extended out and fully stretched, but as you bring the weight up, there's hardly any tension there at all. So the pullover machine is very good. Like Dorian Yates kind of made that popular, the Nautilus pullover machine, and we have a pullover machine. I think it's a Cybex is the brand. The Omega Fitness where I train to, but it's a good one. Like it allows you to get that full range of motion through the pullover. So that's another one that I would incorporate in there as well. But that's basically all the different movements that you can do for your back. Now, again, you can try all the different variations in terms of barbells and dumbbells and machines and cables and whatnot, but make sure that you're hitting those different planes of motion, right? And that's going to hit all areas of your back, including the middle back right there. All right, what else we got there? Should filming in gyms be banned? That's a tricky one. I can see the argument for both. I like it if someone like gyms should make it known. Like if people are going to be filming in there, it should be known. Like I know what's one of the popular gyms? Pure Muscle. I think they have like on their waiver, people literally have to sign and say, hey, there is filming here. You may be caught on film, and you have this. It's part of the whole contract and gym membership waiver that they sign out. Like, hey, yeah, you might be caught on video here, work out at your own risk type of thing. But from a practical point of view, a lot of fitness influencers can abuse the whole gym and turning it in, like thinking that it's their personal filming studio. And you have to be discreet about it. Now, I mean, I started videoing and videoing my workouts in the gym years ago, like back in the early days of YouTube. I was one of the first guys who really got into it. I mean, there was only a handful of fitness influencers back then, and we didn't even call ourselves fitness influencers. We're fitness guys posting shit on YouTube, right? But I was very conservative of my videoing, and what I often did a lot of times is I would go in at non-peak hours. So, like I remember Global Gym at the time was a gym that I did a lot of my videos from. And when they switched to 24 hours and they became a 24-hour gym, I would go in there late at night to shoot videos so that I wouldn't be, catching other people in the background or disrupting it or even just feeling like an idiot. Because sometimes you're going into the gym and, with a camera and stuff, you feel like a douchebag or something, or you feel like you're disrupting other people's workouts because you could very well be. So I would always go in at non-peak hours. And I remember a lot of the comments that I used to get to my videos back then is people say, oh, you must own the gym, right? You must have your own private gym to train at because there's nobody there. I said, no, it's like I'm shooting this video like at midnight, right? Well, the gym is empty basically. Or I would be very strategic about how I filmed it. Like, hey, this piece of equipment is free. There's nobody in the background. Let's go down and shoot that. I tried to avoid getting into the middle of a crowd and being a nuisance and a jackass, which you see a lot of people nowadays going into very busy gyms, setting up their tripod and their camera and all this, and then thinking that, hey, the world owes me something because I got a camera set up on a tripod. Like, no, right? Like, I think that if you are going to video in a gym, you should be mindful of the other members and try to be, I don't know what the word is. Like, it's not necessarily discreet about it because you're not really discreet, but be respectful. That's what I'm trying to say. Be respectful of the other gym members and don't just think because you got a camera that, the world owes you something. And, but anyway, yeah. Should it be banned? I don't know, right? You can argue both ways, right? But I can totally understand, like, even now, when I go into the gym sometimes, thankfully the gym that I train at, it's not a big issue, but I have been in gyms where you just want to go in and get a workout. You just want to have some me time. You don't want to be, caught in someone's stupid workout video that's going to be posted up on Instagram or whatever the hell it is. Yeah. So I totally get where you're coming from with that. Let's see what else. Terrence is saying Omega is way above any of the big commercial gyms around here. Absolutely. And Terrence trains at Omega Health and Fitness, same gyms that I do. And see them in there usually a couple times a week. We'll run into each other at the gym. So yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, Omega Health and Fitness, for those Newfoundlanders watching this right now, if you are in the St. John's, Paradise, Mount Pearl, CBS area, Omega Health and Fitness is within driving distance there. I highly recommend it. And they have 2-week trials on right now where you can go in and try it out for 2 weeks to check, try it before you buy it. And I like it. Like, it's 10,000 square feet, lots of free weights, lots of kettlebells and exercise variety, like lots of different machines. The thing I like about Omega too is they got multiple pieces of each thing. Like, there's several different leg presses, several power racks, several bench presses, several cable pulley stations, like all the key things that you need. There's several of them. So it's very rare that you have to go in there and wait on equipment. Chances are, like, okay, hey, this one is being used, but I can use another one and still get your workout done. So I like that, right? There's nothing worse than, being in a busy gym that doesn't have enough equipment, and then people are lined up waiting to use the equipment. That's a pain in the ass. All right, what else we got there? Tyler's joining in. He says, why do people overtaking training? If you want results, do the basics: deadlines, squats, bench, rows, and train with intensity. So, okay, there's a couple typos here. You're probably typing this with your phone and whatever it is, auto spell or just spell check is kicking in. Why do people overthink training? That's what you're referring to. If you want results, do the basics: deadlifts, squats, bench, rows, and train with intensity. There is some truth to that, but there's a lot more than deadlift, squats, benches, and rows, and just simply intensity. When you're starting off, things can be very simple, but the more advanced you get, and especially if you're working around injuries and things like that, then you have to get more creative. And even when you start hitting plateaus, like you're beyond the initial newbie gain phase of training and you're into the more advanced phases of training, or you're into your more seasoned years of training, a gym veteran who's probably 40 or 50 plus years old, and you got aches and pains and arthritis and all that kind of stuff, you just can't go in there and hammer it away with intensity. Sometimes you have to respect the body more. So training evolves as the body evolves, and it's not always like a one size fits all cookie cutter approach. Now, I mean, I respect what you're saying there. And I mean, for some people, yeah, don't overthink it. Keep it simple. Just go in there, show up, get shit done. Don't overthink it. I totally respect that. But there's always situations where sometimes we need to go beyond the basics and beyond just push yourself and train hard. But anyway, see what else we got there. Mark is saying, need to do a day in the life of Hayward full arm session filmed in your favorite gym, followed by a treat meal at your favorite restaurant. There you go. We'll probably get that one done in the not too distant future. Right. Even though my full arm session's probably not that impressive anymore, but hey, we could still shoot it as is. MB saying, Haley, what's your go-to high protein meal when you're short on time? My go-to lunch that I have pretty much every day, chicken salad. I mean, I know it sounds boring, but it works. I get a large garden salad, and I buy the bags of pre-made salad, and I throw in a chicken breast in with it. Boom. Chicken and veggies right there. Protein and veggies. Simple. It takes me like a minute to whip it up because I buy the bags of pre-made salad. I have pre-cooked chicken breast on hand, or you can even buy pre-cooked chicken breast now, so it's even super convenient. It's like my healthy fast food. So for lunch, and I had one of those for lunch today. Garden salad, chopped up chicken breast thrown in there, and I also put in some fat-free Greek yogurt in there as well, kind of as a salad dressing additive, and gives me that nice creamy salad dressing texture I want, and it also helps bump up the protein a bit more as well. That's all covered actually in my most recent full day of eating video. I show my infamous chicken salad lunch. That's a go-to one. Other ones that are really quick and easy, like Greek yogurt and protein powder. like just get a cup of Greek yogurt, throw in a scoop of protein powder, stir it up. Boom, you got a quick, easy, high protein meal. And it only takes like seconds, like however long it takes you to stir up protein powder into Greek yogurt, right? Not very long at all. Blender smoothies, another very quick one. Like just get out the blender. For a base, you could either use milk or yogurt, or very often I even use liquid egg whites. So get the cartons of pasteurized liquid egg whites, put that in there as a base, throw in a scoop of protein powder, throw in some fruit or frozen berries, blend it up. Very quick, like you're talking like a minute or two max. That's it, and you got an instant high protein meal. So those are some of my go-tos that I have on a regular basis. Like it doesn't always have to be slaving over the stove for hours on end. Like you can literally have healthy fast food if you just plan in advance. Great comment there by Mark. He said, we wouldn't have met Lee if gyms didn't allow filming. Right? That's true. Just think of how much you would not have seen in terms of fitness if gyms didn't allow filming. I mean, think of pumping iron. Like pumping iron put bodybuilding on the map. And I mean, obviously they were allowed to film in that gym. Now, it was a major ordeal with a full film crew and everything else back then. But if gyms didn't allow filming, like this would still be an underground kind of a cult type activity. So it's good that we have filming. I mean, from that point of view, think of every activity or sporting event or whatever. Like imagine they didn't film sports, or they didn't film music, or they didn't film any whatever it is that you're into. Like if it wasn't filmed, you wouldn't know about it. So, same thing when it goes to the gyms, right? It's actually pretty, we should be grateful that we're we're allowed to film in the gym, right? From that point of view. But at the same time, like I mentioned before, people who are in filming, they should be respectful of other people that are there as well, right? That's the way I try to go about it, Sal is joining in. He says, what other exercises do you recommend for side laterals besides side lateral raises? Well, you need to do some version of a side lateral raise. And my personal favorite is the side lateral raise machine. So it's not the dumbbell side lateral raise, but it's actually the machine variation. And let me just see if I can find that for you. I have, it's on some videos and stuff like that. I've got it, but I can't dig that up right now. Side lateral raise machine. If you just go to Google and search for this, like a lot of gyms probably have it, side lateral raise machines. This one right here, I'm just going to share my screen and show you the one I'm talking about. Present, share screen. Just give me a second, guys. Share screen. Is that coming through there? Okay, yeah, up in the corner, you see the seated side lateral raise machine. That's one of my favorite isolation exercises, or I should say favorite side lateral exercises, because it allows you to really isolate the side head of the deltoids, and it allows you to handle heavy weight with good form. So that's one that I like to include with my own workouts, with my coaching students. We'll regularly do that one. So if you have access to that, that's a good one. Other good variations as well, resistance bands. Surprisingly, I find resistance bands actually give you a really good pump and really good peak contraction when doing side lateral raises versus dumbbells. Dumbbell lateral raises, even though it's a simple movement it should be simple, I should say, but it's not. And when I'm coaching new people in the gym, like some of my one-on-one students that I'm working with, this is a hard one for people to master, right? It seems simple enough, but to get your body in the right position and have the right angle and the right, position with your elbows and your wrists and everything else to actually isolate the side delts. Because what a lot of people end up doing with lateral raises is they're just focusing on getting the weights up. So like, let's pretend I got dumbbells in my hand and they're doing their lateral raises like this. So the hands and the dumbbells are the height of the shoulder, but that doesn't activate the side head of the delts. You need to get your elbows up. So elbows, And that's where you really need someone to coach you and guide you and like, okay, how do we not just get our hands and our dumbbells up, but we actually get the elbow up? And that's what's going to activate the side head of the delt, right? So it's the technique is the hard part for a lot of people. I actually have some videos. If you do a search for like Lee Hayward side lateral raise on YouTube, there's a video that I made explaining this in more detail. But you need to do that. Like there's really no other exercises that are going to hit that side head of the deltoid other than some variation of a lateral raise. Now, whether it's a cable, a machine, free weights, resistance bands, like there's all kinds of different variations of it. But the technique is, and really activating that muscle is key, right? Now, with that being said, like even if you do overhead shoulder presses and stuff like that, I mean, that's still going to bring in the side delt to a certain degree. Like, but a lot of times when you do overhead presses, is the front head of the delt is taking over the majority of the workload. Side head of the delt is only kind of getting supplementary workload. So if you really want to build out the side delts, you have to incorporate lateral raises in there somewhere. The key is to find a variation that works the best for you and that you can do. And again, going back to that machine variation, the reason I like that is because it's so easy to teach people and it's so easy to hit and activate that muscle with the proper form. Like when I'm working with my coaching students in the gym, especially like guys who are maybe in their first year of training, they may have trouble with the free weights and say, oh, I can't really feel this working, or they can't get in the right position. I bring them over to that machine. Everybody feels it working because the machine locks you into the right plane of motion, the right path. All you have to do is exert effort against resistance, and the machine is going to basically do the rest. So that's one situation where a machine is actually superior to free weights in a lot of cases. Right? So it's not always one or the other. You have to look at the situation, right? What's best based on the situation and the individual. All right, moving on. We're going to answer a few more questions before we clue it up. Jeffrey's got another one. Says, I like to keep canned chicken in the house and put it in a bowl with salsa and cheese and microwave it for 2 minutes. You know what? That sounds pretty damn good. And it's a quick little serving of protein. Yeah, I mean, the only thing is, I mean, depending on what type of eating plan you're following, like cheese, we can argue is obviously high in fat, but you can choose lower fat cheese options. But chicken, salsa, that's like that could be a perfect cutting diet protein source right there, because chicken is lean, salsa is very low in calories. Like I do that a lot. Like I use salsa as a topping with wraps, with put it on my rice or potatoes and stuff like that. Put it on like if you're having chicken breasts like you're doing too, like put salsa on it. It's a great topping, very low in calories and a lot of flavor. So yeah, it's a great one. But that's awesome. Thanks for sharing. I mean, it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to overthink it. It doesn't have to be complicated. A lot of times people think, oh, how do you get protein? Oh, it's so hard to get protein. Like I said, you throw chicken and cheese and salsa, nuke it, done. Right? Like it doesn't have to be this massive, overcomplicated thing. It can be very simple, right? People never complain about, oh, it's too hard to get carbohydrates. Oh, I can't get enough carbs, or I can't get enough fat, or anything like that, because we're so used to the quick and easy snack food carbs. Like, hey, I'll grab a donut, or I'll grab a muffin, or I'll grab a slice of bread, or I'll grab this and that. I'll grab a bowl of cereal. And we're so used to just grabbing these carb sources. All you got to do is like rewire your brain to think, hey, where can I grab some quick protein sources? Right? A can of chicken, that's a quick protein source, right? Greek yogurt and protein powder, blender smoothie, like these are all quick protein sources, right? It's easy to get protein if you just rewire what your go-to food options. Yeah, but again, thanks for sharing that, Jeffrey. Much appreciated. We have Polly joining in. Polly SC says, hey, Lee, can you build significant muscle doing full body twice a week? I work out at home with dumbbells full body twice a week and was just curious. Absolutely. Yep, you can do that. And I want to share a prime example of this. One of my in-person coaching students that I've been working with now for the past year, he actually signed up for his gym membership last February 29th. Last year was a leap year. So we're on to a year. He's been at the gym now for 1 year officially, and we've been working out together for exactly 1 year now. And we work out twice a week. So Mondays and Thursdays. And he has made some incredible strength and muscle gains over the past year, like literally more than doubled his strength in a lot of his exercises. Put some real world numbers there, like deadlifts. When he started off, like we were with trap bar deadlifts, I think he was pulling somewhere around 185 or 200-pound trap bar deadlifts. Now, just recently, he pulled 440 pounds for reps. I think he did a set of 5 with 440. So more than doubled his deadlift in the last year. Other exercises as well, like we can go right across the board with presses and rows and leg press. Like the leg press machine. The other day he did, 10 reps with 8 plates aside on the leg press machine, right? With good form. So, I mean, like, and that's more than double what he started with. I think his first workout, what he started last year, I think we worked up to 3 plates aside on the leg press. Now he's doing 8 plates aside. So, like, you can make crazy strength and muscle gains with 2 workouts a week. And that's all he does. He does 2 workouts a week. We do Mondays and Thursdays, and they're total body workouts. Now, we'll change up the exercises, but it's always total body. And the way I like to structure the workouts is focus on one major exercise per movement pattern. So we'll focus on like a horizontal press, a horizontal pull, overhead press, overhead pull, some sort of squat or leg press, some sort of pull or hip hinge. Now, we don't necessarily do it all in the same workout. Like we will cycle through and vary it, but we focus on the total body. So there's always some upper and lower body work done, and we're focused on hitting the different movement patterns. And we got a training log, and we keep records of all the workouts, all the exercises and the weights that he's been lifting and stuff like that. And each time we go in there, we just try and make some sort of measurable progress over where he was before and just let that compound. And we've been doing that twice a week for the past year, and, you know, strength and muscle gains. Again, I couldn't be happier. Like, it just goes to show when you're good enough and good enough consistently, like, it just works, right? So, yeah, you can absolutely make progress. The only thing that's going to be an issue with you're working out at home with dumbbells. That's kind of limiting you because, as I just mentioned, if you've been hearing what I've been rambling on there for the past couple minutes, we've been doing this at a gym with proper gym equipment and a lot of exercise variety. You're kind of limited with what you can do at home with dumbbells. Now, I'm not saying you can't make progress, but that would be nice to have maybe as a backup, and then maybe another day of the week, like, hey, do one home gym dumbbell workout a week, and then maybe go to the gym and do a gym workout once a week. Like if you did that, like, you could make some really good gains. But I'm a big fan of the gym. Like, I built my physique going to the gym, and most of my coaching students built their physique going to the gym. Now, I know it's possible to do it at home with minimal equipment, but if you really want to maximize your progress, you need to have the right tools, right? Just the same as a carpenter is going to build something. Like, you hire a contractor to come build a house. They need to have the proper tools. Like, they're not just going to show up with a hammer and a screwdriver and say, okay, let's build a house. They need to have a full arsenal of tools that they're going to need to build that project. Just like if you want to build your body, you need to have the proper tools. Trying to do it with minimal equipment, it's trying to build a house with a hammer and a screwdriver. Sure, there's times when you need a hammer and there's times when you need a screwdriver, but there's times when you need a hell of a lot more, right? And if you don't have it, then you're at a disadvantage for sure. So I'm a big fan of going to the gym. All right, we're going to get ready to clue it up, but there's a couple more questions there, so I'm just going to bang these out before we clue it up here. MB, I actually started putting Greek yogurt in my salad after I heard you suggest that one on one of your podcasts a while back. Great suggestion. Cool. Glad you find that helpful. I've been doing that for years, and I love it. And I find that it's great from a taste, texture, and bumping up the protein. I mean, it's just a cool suggestion all around. But again, glad you're doing it, and glad you enjoy it. Robert saying I came in late. Enjoy the info. Well, if you missed the beginning of the video chat, the replay will be posted up afterwards, and you can go back and catch the replay. But again, glad to have you joining in. Jeffrey saying, make a taco salad minus the chips and use salsa for dressing, and it's healthy and so simple. Yeah, thanks. That's a cool one as well. Right? There's so many simple recipes, and I mean nowadays, like everybody is sharing recipes like on social media, and there's websites and stuff like that. The only thing is, when you're looking up recipes, even if it's from a quote unquote fitness influencer, look at the ingredients and actually look at the calories and the macros and what it is. Because I've got some friends and colleagues of mine who are in the fitness industry, and they're always posting recipes, right? And I'll check it out from time to time, and I'm like, this is just the same as the regular version, but you threw a scoop of protein powder in with it. Like I had someone the other day, like, oh, try my high protein banana bread or my high protein muffins or my high protein whatever. It's just the regular old banana bread or the regular muffins or the regular cakes or cookies or whatever with a scoop of protein powder thrown in there. So, I mean, from a nutritional point of view, especially if you're trying to lose body fat, like you wouldn't be eating cakes and cookies and muffins and donuts and crap like that. Just because there's a scoop of protein powder thrown in with it doesn't make it healthy and, you know, make it all of a sudden this bodybuilding food. It can still be junk food with protein powder thrown in with it, right? Like a lot of protein bars are like that. So if you are going looking for recipes, use take them with a grain of salt and make sure that the calories and the macros and everything else actually make sense. Because some people, they just keep pumping out all these recipes. And I know some folks are like, oh, I eat healthy. And they're eating like a lot of these, protein recipes, which are just the same, high calorie processed foods with protein added in. Well, I mean, I guess it's better because they're getting the protein at least, but it could be a lot better. Let's see what else we got. Storyteller joining in, says came in late. I don't know if Lee addressed it on the side delt question, but barbell or dumbbell upright rows are cool. Upright rows, yeah. I mean, that's another one. I mean, it's more personally. I find upright rows, it's a lot of back or a lot of traps. Like it's really getting that upper back in there. But indirectly, you will get some side delt work in there as well. But if you really want to isolate the side head of the delts, I honestly don't think you can beat an isolated side lateral raise of some sort. But again, the upright rows, especially I think the dumbbell ones, a lot of people have issues with the barbell because it keeps your wrists and hands in a fixed position, and sometimes it's on the joints. But when you're using dumbbells, you've got freedom of movement and you're not in that locked fixed position. So when I do a dumbbell upright row, I actually hold it so my hands are kind of at that 45-degree angle like that, versus having them, if I'm grabbing a barbell, then I got to have my wrists cocked at that weird angle. So I find the dumbbell is a lot easier on the wrists and also on the shoulder joint as well. So I will occasionally do those from time to time with dumbbells. I find it's a good one. Makes sense. Thank you. I'm glad it makes sense. Sometimes when I get rambling on with these video chats, I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, is any of this shit that I'm talking about making sense? But hey, I'm glad it is. You're welcome. Sometimes I just get gabbing on and saying, I hope it's making sense. Right? We have Zionic 484. Hey Lee, good to see you again. Probably used to me by now, LOL. Signed up for the 5-day Lose Your Gut Challenge. Does that start this Monday? You know what? That's a great question. We can actually clue this whole video chat up on, because we're already past the hour, and I did want to touch on the Lose Your Gut Challenge. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. If you go to leehayward.com right now, and I'm actually just going to share my screen and we'll quickly go over this. It's got all the details for the Lose Your Gut Challenge. So there we are. We are on leehayward.com. Pop that open. The first post, the Lose Your Gut Challenge, Get Lean for Summer. All right, that's showing up there. It outlines what the Lose Your Gut Challenge is. Now, I'll just give you a summary here. It's a 5-day virtual coaching program where we're going to go into the fundamentals of fat loss nutrition and how you can lose your gut and do so sustainably and enjoyably without cutting carbs, without starving yourself, without going hungry, without fasting, without going through extreme diets or extreme workouts, and actually do so in an enjoyable fashion so that you can lose your gut, but more importantly, how you can keep it off. And one of the key things that we really focus within the Lose Your Gut Challenge is we want to improve your eating, exercise, and lifestyle habits without going to the extremes. Because if you go to the extremes, sure, you may be able to get faster results. Like if you just go intermittent fast, right? Just cut my carbs to zero, eat one meal a day, and basically just kind of like starve myself. Are you going to lose weight? Absolutely, you're going to lose weight. But how long can you see yourself going eating zero carbs, one meal a day, and starving yourself? Days, weeks, maybe a couple months. I don't know. Like it depends on your level of willpower, but it's probably not something you can do for the rest of your life. So we want to focus on like, how can we actually create a healthy lifestyle approach to this where you can do it over the long term, enjoy the process, and still lose body fat in the process, right? That's the key. And that's what we're going to cover within the Lose Your Gut Challenge. So again, it's a interactive coaching program where we're going to break down the fundamentals of fat loss nutrition. And this is the key behind the whole Muscle After 40 Blueprint program. This is the system that I use to achieve my Muscle After 40 transformation. For those of you who are not familiar with my story, back when I was in my, late 30s, all right, when I became a father and I got the quote unquote dad bod. And, when you have a baby and you have all the added responsibilities, waking up in the middle of the night, crying baby, diaper changing and bottle feeding and not sleeping well and all the extra responsibilities, my fitness and nutrition got pushed to the wayside. Like I was too exhausted in the morning to go to the gym. And I just say, I'll take a day off. I'm too tired. I'll do it tomorrow. And I'm too tired to meal prep. Screw it. I'll just order takeaway and I'll get back into the gym tomorrow. Or I'll get back on track with the diet tomorrow, and all this. And all these little decisions started to add up, even though I intellectually knew better. I wasn't doing what I knew I should do. And I ended up getting a quote unquote dad bod. So you can see right there my transformation. And that's what I want to outline for you in the Lose Your Gut Challenge, is how I went about achieving that without going to the extremes. And so we'll be breaking that down. So it's basically a 5-day intensive coaching program where we'll be covering training, nutrition, and there's also accountability built in there as well, right? So every day there's like an accountability task that you have to do. And this just helps to encourage you to actually follow through and interact and participate in the challenge versus just passively watching. Because passively watching doesn't create change. You actually need to get your ass in gear and take action. Like a lot of you are passively watching my videos. You're passively tuning into these video chats. Like I know guys who've been following my shit for years and they're still fat, right? Like watching doesn't create change. The only thing that creates change is doing. Action creates change. Like learning more information doesn't create change. You need to actually apply what you learn. And that's the whole purpose of the Lose Your Gut Challenge. It's an interactive challenge that will get you taking action and applying it. And again, here's some of the guys that have gone through the challenge in the past. You can see some of their results, right? I mean, again, just go to leehayward.com. It's the first post there. You can read all about this. But I've done several of these challenges over the years. I think I started the first one back in 2020. And since then, like there's over 200 5-star reviews over on the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Facebook page of guys who've gone through the Lose Your Gut Challenge. And, it's a very powerful interactive program. And I encourage you to follow along with it, right? So for those of you watching this, I mean, this is a free coaching program. I mean, I'm giving it away. Like literally, you can sign up for free. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, what's the catch? Why are you giving it away for free? I'm giving it away for free because it's literally the first phase of the Muscle After 40 Blueprint program. And the way this works is I know after going through that initial program, the initial Lose Your Gut Challenge and laying the foundation, some people are going to want to get more interactive one-on-one coaching afterwards. And if that's you and you want to get more interactive one-on-one coaching afterwards to kind of take it to that next level, we can discuss that. but there's no obligation. Like, you're totally welcome to join in, go through the whole challenge, participate in it. I know I see Zionic there posting there. He says the catch is you have to participate. Yeah, that's the catch, right? You actually have to take action and do something here, right? Participate in the challenge. And a lot of guys have literally just done the challenge alone and made amazing progress, right? Like, I get feedback all the time from people saying, hey, you know what? I followed your Lose Your Gut challenge, man, and that really helped me to get my shit together. And now, I'm on the right track. I've lost weight, feel better, improve my health, yada, yada, yada. That's the goal. It's to create this positive momentum and to get people actually following through and taking action. And of course, if you want more help, that's available. You can join our VIP program afterwards. But again, that's totally optional. That's not required by anybody. Right? The only thing is you have to interact and participate. But the deadline, I mean, getting back to the question there, I think he was asking, does it start Monday? No, it starts next weekend. So it starts March 8th is the official kickoff day. All right. So you still have time to register and all that. Like, you can get yourself in there, register for it. But the challenge will kick off next Saturday. So March 8th. And it goes for 5 days of intensive coaching. And then afterwards, we do a workshop at the end where we take all the concepts that we covered over the 5-day Lose Your Gut challenge and put it together into a step-by-step action plan that you can then take and follow after the challenge is over. So for full transparency, it's a 5-day Lose Your Gut challenge, but nobody's going to lose their gut in 5 days. All right. Just want to be clear. All right. I wish it was that quick and easy that you could lose your gut in 5 days, but you can't. But you can get the tools, the tactics, and the strategies and the action plan over the course of that 5-day program to follow after the 5 days of coaching is up, and then implement it to lose your gut. So to really lose your gut is going to, how long that takes depends on how much of a gut you got to lose, right? If you got a 4-pack now, you could probably get a 6-pack within the matter of a couple months. If you got a belly roll right now, then it's probably going to take several months or longer to lose that belly roll. It all depends on where you're at. But I'll share some of the results of guys who've gone through it. Like, I know one of our coaching students, Steve Patterson, he went through one of the original Lose Your Gut challenges. I think he went through one back in 2020. And in 1 year, he lost 100 pounds by applying what he learned in the Lose Your Gut challenge and then going on with the advanced coaching program afterwards. But like, obviously that is exceptional results. Like, that's above average results to lose 100 pounds in a year, but it is possible if you put in the dedication and the commitment and you follow a proven system. That is the kind of results that are possible. I mean, we've had other guys. I know Steve Gilbert, another person that he's lost over 100 pounds going through the Lose Your Gut challenge program. We even had some older guys go through it, like Paul Miller or Mike Brown. Like, Paul's just turned 70 this year. He's gone through it, made an amazing transformation. I mean, here he is at 70 years old, and he just did his first novice level bodybuilding competition a couple months ago at the age of 70. Mike Brown did his first bodybuilding competition at age 61. Right. So, I mean, it's so cool to see that. Right. So, I mean, guys are even in their 60s and beyond still applying this and getting results. But, if you want to check it out, again, just go to leehayward.com. All the information is outlined there. You can register for the challenge, and we'll be kicking it off on Monday, March 8th. And for those of you who participate, I'm looking forward to following along through progress throughout the challenge and getting to know you better. And it's an interactive thing. So like what we're doing right now, it's kind of similar in a way, but it's a smaller group and it's a more interactive coaching atmosphere, right? So like every day there's going to be live video coaching throughout the challenge group, giving you your action steps and your accountability tasks for today. And then we'll be chatting and participating through the challenge group as well to make sure that you're on the right track to follow through and achieving your fitness and fat loss transformation and getting lean for summer. All right, guys, I'm going to clue this up. So what else we got there coming through? Oh, Mr. Buff Canuck said, just supporting the channel. Keep up the excellent content. Appreciate that, my friend. Thank you so much for the support. Good stuff. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to clue this up, and I will be seeing you on March 8th. All right. Good stuff. Have yourself a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Same time, same place. Take care. Over and out.